Hi there, hope you're having a good day. Welcome back to another video. Today we have a flawless performer, just a beautiful product to me. This is the Li-Ning JB 3. So price and availability will depend on your location. Jimmy Butler's signature line with a retail price is high, basically as expensive as their Gamma's Wave Weight 11 as a reference, $250 ish. Much later on, they might cool down, but I'll leave you a link to kicksown.com for those who are interested to cop. They might have sold out of this tennis colorway that I have right here. I've seen 3 different colorways so far. I ultimately decided to go with this vintage tennis inspired colorway. There's also a triple black pair that seems to use a slightly different upper material, like a glossy type of leather. Also a coffee colorway. That one looks gorgeous to me too. Yeah, Jimmy Butler is basically Li-Ning's top athlete signed as of now. He's in quite a bit of a drama with the Heat. A trade is probably imminent. Good thing is that none of these first few colorways are heavily Miami themed, so they won't be like outdated when he leaves. Anyways, his previous 2 signature shoes were pretty good already, especially the JB2, a hella comfortable and smooth ride. Except one area was meh from my experience, but that got significantly improved here on the 3. So let's get right into this newest model. As to how the JB3 performs on the court, cushion is fantastic. Very bouncy. You get quite a dynamic effect from the carbon core drive system. For those who remember, this is essentially the same setup as the Wave Weight 11. Lots of similarities between how these two feel on feet actually. Most importantly, you get a really springy effect from the carbon fiber plate. Boom is still featured on this model, but what's different this time is that they used a Cloud Plus shell according to the product description. Cloud Plus is basically like a mid-tier tech from the brand. Here they used it as like a carrier. Light foam is their most basic one. Boom being the premium type of foam offered. Even as someone who cannot stop buying shoes, I always think at the end of the day, it's just a pair of shoes. So I hate to make things overcomplicated with a lot of those gimmicky terms. Simply put, the foam is soft and responsive at the same time. A lot of bounce back, great impact protection to give you safe landings. And transitioning from front to back goes pretty smooth. Even though it looks like the shoe is fully armored up, it doesn't really add a stiff feeling. Because a lot of times when the midsole is heavily caged, that can make it really stiff, but not the case here. Very cozy the moment you step your feet inside. The JB3 is on the lighter side, exactly 400 grams for US size 10.5, slightly below average weight, I would say. Wouldn't really make sense for me if they made it even lighter. So the way it is, you get good speed, good comfort, nice cushion, and enough shock absorption. I think for most people, once you get the shoes in hand, you'll notice that these turn out to be lighter than you expected probably. It's also not as bottom heavy as the JB2. Now, traction is that aspect I was talking about earlier that got drastically improved to a point where I would give it a perfect score. 10 out of 10. Excellent against a dusty floor too. Very loud and squeaky. So finally a JB shoe that squeaks, as one of you said. And it is a GCU also. Again, same as the Wave Weight 11. All City 12 Encore, Gammas, and half of All City 13. Their GCU is not a gimmick. It's probably the most grippy type of outsole on the market. The traction pattern is made up of a bunch of its logos. It is disconnected around the middle, but it covers all the important areas. So it's just an amazing stop and very, very consistent traction performance. Another thing about GCU is that shit's pretty durable too. Like the Wild 11 holds up perfectly through mud and dirt for me. Great for outdoor use, surprisingly. So I believe durability shouldn't be a concern over the long term. Quick comparison with the JB2, my pair unfortunately didn't give me a consistent hard stop. I felt slippery at times on a dusty court. But on the JB1 and 2, they were trying to be innovative, kind of going for like a foam outsole design. But that didn't turn out particularly well for me. This time around, once they slapped GCU on there, just so much better traction. With the fit, this is a standard true to size fit. You can safely go ahead with your normal US size. I wear a 10.5 in the LeBron's, Sabrina's, New Balance, and same size here in the JB3. I'll point out one thing, you do not need to size up in my opinion. This is because sizing up might give you some heel slippage problems. That was particularly the case on the previous version due to the fact that they didn't put like thick padding on the interior. So I had heel slippage on the JB2 even in my true size. A little more pressure on the ankle here. The best sizing decision would be true to size or even half size down if you have narrow feet. For wide footers, it's pretty spacious. Average toe box fit, midfoot area is quite roomy. So this is good to go for wide feet as well. I just didn't see the need to size up in any scenario. And don't worry, this is not a loose fit. It's still secure enough, armored up from heel to toe, I'll describe it that way. Moving on to the material, it's a decent quality leather that we're getting. Not a tumble leather, but smooth to the touch. It is supportive, yes, in terms of lateral containment. Torsional support is top notch too, just the right blend, so everything stays in shape nicely over time. This pot shaped cutoff with stitching lines crossing each other, it actually prevents the toe box area from creasing heavily. So not as much creasing as the Wave 11. Breathability is about average at best. After a long sedge, I didn't feel like my feet were heating up like crazy, but just keep in mind that ventilation won't be the same as like the minimal and thin mesh uppers on a lot of other shoes today. That's also why this pod is important. Some cooling effect around the forefoot, that was critical, because otherwise I would have called breathability an issue. So maybe the only downside is if you were to get a white, beige, or lighter colorway like this one I have, the upper is probably gonna get dirty easily. Once somebody steps on it, going for a rebound or contesting your shot, it might be hard to clean as well. But obviously that has no effect on the functionality. Design-wise, I am in love with how this one looks. The big logo placement on the heel, I'm not mad about it. It also acts as a separate TPU piece that helps with the lockdown. His logo also appears on the tongue. A small detail is that it's wrapped inside of a spade symbol. I don't know if there will be other suits of poker cards on other colorways, but given the nasty price tag, I'm actually content with the attention to details. Like, it's very elegant for a performance product. Jimmy Butler really seems to be a man of multiple hobbies. JB in Chinese, I'll let you search out what it means. So the way they're advertising this shoe in China with the wordplay is kind of hilarious. Only for the players who are hard enough. As far as the silhouette goes, it's indeed sharp where it needs to be. A clear contrast against something like the KT10. That one's more rounded out everywhere. Yeah, the outer shell reminds me a lot of those full body armors that the ancient warriors used to wear on the battlefield. However, it's definitely not too hard. Plus, we always see a ton of great colorways on the JB series, so lots to look forward to. I think the model itself has huge potential for some beautiful special editions. Overall, is the JB3 worth the price? Absolutely yes. Normally, given that high retail price, I would be at least somewhat biased because of the affordability issue. But here I am an extremely happy customer, having spent that full retail. One word to summarize the shoe: luxury. The design is luxurious and elegant. One word to summarize my whole experience playing in these: enjoyable. Every aspect is pretty much top tier. 10 out of 10 traction, hella bouncy and supportive. A very comfortable ride that suits all types of playing styles. For comparisons, this is gonna collect dubs all across the different product lines. I get asked a lot about these versus the Wave 10. So let's just go to the hardest part. If you allow a pass, I'll pass on a decision. If I myself absolutely have to pick one, I enjoy playing in these even a tiny bit more because it's not as tight, especially around the midfoot area. The Wild 10 may be associated with some sizing concerns, depending on your foot shape. They both give you an excellent bounce. If you like to feel a little more softness and compression from the foam, that'll be the JB3 as well. So even though that matchup is almost impossible to choose from, it should give you an idea of how good this shoe is. I mean, I think I can call this a perfect basketball shoe. Does it remind me of any other shoe? Aside from the Wave 11, not really. I only remember this JB. But as always, let me know your thoughts on the JB3 down in the comments. How do you feel about the design, performance? Are you willing to give these a try? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.